That credit card was off and running now because that was a scam. That was just a scam. So you've got to be really careful. And what I learned from that is on your computer, right on the very top in the middle, if there's a little bubble that looks like a little glass bubble, that's a camera. And if one of these criminals has a virus inside your computer, they can watch everything you're doing. So I went right home, put a Band-Aid over mine. The gauze part went over the camera. Remember, in order to win a lottery, you actually have to enter it. You cannot win unless you do. And taxes are never ever paid up front. If it's a legitimate lottery, they will take the taxes out. They will take everything out so that you just get a check. I had an email one day that said, you have won this lottery because you shop at Safeway, Walgreens, and Walmart. So they're very good at trying to get you to believe that you've won that lottery. We had a lady come in the sheriff's office one day. She wanted to report a loss. She had won the Canadian lottery. They called her and said, you've won $500,000. But because of the exchange rate and the taxes and everything, it's in a foreign country, you'll need to wire us $40,000 before we can give you the money. So she did. She wired $40,000. The next day they called her again and said, oh, we made a huge mistake. You really won $1 million. Now you owe us another 40. Well, then she knew that was a scam. But that money is gone. It may not be in Canada. These guys can sit in the Ukraine, in Moscow, Russia, and contact us on a telephone, and it looks like a local number. So it's out of the country. She lost that money. Please be careful with anybody with lotteries. Maybe many of you on your computers have received an email from a friend that says, oh, I was on vacation and I lost my passport, I lost my wallet, so I just need $1,300 to get home. Please click here and you can wire it to this place. Well, if you click there, it's called ClickJack. And these criminals now will have a virus inside your computer and they will be mining for all kinds of information. They're mining for bank accounts, they're mining for credit cards. They're mining for maybe you've got medical. They're especially looking for your social security number. So you've really got to be careful. Do not click onto anything unless you know who it is. We have a lady that lives in Green Valley, 56 years old. That's a baby in Green Valley. She moved here out of Tucson. She retired military. And she called and she said, I just can't believe I did this. She received a call from Microsoft and they said, we have detected viruses in your computer if you'd like to check. And they had her on that telephone for 15 minutes. And they are good. They said, click here, go to this, open this box, go to that box. And it all is exactly like they say it is. And then they said, now, if you want us to check and see if there's email in virus in your email, please click on your email. She did. Boy, that virus went right into her email, got all of her accounts. She did all of her banking transactions, everything online. They got it all. It cost her over $1,000 to fix, repair her computer. But then she had to spend all that time on getting new accounts, new credit cards, new everything. And she said, I just can't believe I did that. And she said, you know, after 9/11, we were on high alert, 24/7, high alert. And she said, when I moved to Green Valley, I just thought, well, everything's going to be okay. And she said, now I realize I have to be on a different kind of alert. So we all have to be on a different kind of alert. A lady came in our office one day. Her cell phone had been broken for 4 days. Finally, she was getting ready to go down and get a new cell phone, but her landline rang, and it was her stockbroker. And he said, well, I got that transaction ready for you. And she said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you emailed me and said you needed $15,000. You were on vacation, and you were on your cell phone, but wire it to this account as soon as you could. He said, I've been calling you on your cell phone for her cell phone was down. She immediately stopped that transaction, but somebody knew her cell phone was broken. She had a virus inside that computer. So she must have emailed her friends that my cell phone's broken. So they knew her cell phone was broken. So they knew her stockbroker, they knew the company, they knew how to get there. That's a crime of opportunity. And that's why you just don't click when it says click here. Don't you do that, because it implants a virus in there. And big companies like Microsoft will never call you and say, we determined you have a virus. Big companies don't call you. Hewlett Packard, Best Buy, they will not call you. You have to initiate that conversation. So that's important. Oh, remember the IRS is probably not going to show up on your doorstep and give you a check. The IRS contacts you by mail. That's it. They will not call you because it's tax time. We have had, last year we had 18 people call us and say that when they filed their tax return, they got a notification that a refund had already been sent out. Somebody had stolen their ID. 18 people in this community. And what we did with that is we got asking questions where they had been, what they had done, and we found out what they all had in common, and we shut it down. But your Social Security number, if somebody steals your Social Security number, they can sell it right now for $1,500. So that's cash right then, and then it goes up from there. So guard that Social Security number, and your medical information has your Social Security number on it. So be very, very careful with that. And shredding is very good in this country. And if you don't want to shred everything, at least take your name or your address off that magazine and rip it up, cut it up. Because some of those codes, we don't know what those codes mean, where those addresses are. I had a girlfriend and she changed her Medicare provider. She received a new magazine from them, and on that magazine, where her name and address was, her Social Security number was on the top of that. They had actually sent out 90,000 Social Security numbers by mistake, but that's huge. So make sure you at least mark those out and shred them up. If you have already been victimized, don't feel alone, because 20% of people over 65 have lost money. You are not alone. Hundreds of thousands of dollars leave this little community every year, but it is getting better. This program is working because you are sharing this with your friends and your neighbors. So that's huge. These guys are really, really smart. They are professional, or they wouldn't be doing it if they weren't making any money. They actually have graphs and charts that they look at. If you get a phone call and nobody's there, they're timing it. If you get a phone call and nobody's there and you say hello, they know what gender you are. And then they will keep timing that and marking it. And then they will call back with a real live person that comes after you with some kind of scam, fit specifically for a man or a woman. So they're not stupid, so please be careful with that. We'd like you to report this to us, because this is how we learn what new scams are coming into town. Also, we don't know how many people have lost money unless you come in and make a report. We have had people lose up to $80,000. One person lost $80,000 just lately because he was the beginning stages of dementia. And it's really hard for spouses to say, I'm taking the checkbook away. I'm gonna take care of that from now on. It's really hard. But watch your neighbors, watch your friends, especially those that might tend to isolate. Take this information to them. It's better off out in the community than it is sitting in our cupboard. We had a lady, one of the first ladies I talked to doing the report. And she said, oh, 3 months ago she got a phone call from her grandson. And he was on his way into Canada to a fishing trip. And he picked up these 2 hitchhikers and they put their backpacks in the trunk. And when they went across the border, the patrol officers, the border patrol, found drugs in the backpack. Grab, it's not my fault, it was those guys, but I need $2,500 because the attorney said he can get me off and I can be home, I'm coming straight home. But whatever you do, don't you call my mother because she'll kill me. So she went right out, wired the money. It was gone. Well, then she found out, no, it wasn't him in Canada, it was a scam. But 3 months later, she gets a call. This is John. Remember in high school when you and 10 other girls made a pact that if anything happened to any of you, you would all be there to help each other. Well, Janet's in trouble and she needs some help right now. Well, she knew she hadn't done that and she hung it up. But these people are relentless. They will not give up. They will not let go. And especially if you have lost any money at all, they sell your name. You are on a list, and they will sell your name to another bunch of criminals. And they might come back a month or 2 months or a year later. So please be careful with that. This is how widespread it is around the world. When my mother and I were on a trip, we were in the desert, the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt, out in the middle of nowhere. And I was walking down the hallway of the resort one day, and the gentleman that owned the jewelry store said, come on in. And I said, oh no, I don't want to buy anything. And he said, no, just come in and sit down and have some tea. And so I did. And we were talking, chatting, and his phone was ringing, and it was ringing, and it was ringing. And I said, oh my gosh, you are a busy man. And he said, well, it's this guy from Nigeria. And he has inherited all of this property, but he owes $3,500 on the taxes. And he doesn't have that money, and if I just pay him $3,500, he'll give me $350,000 in return. Well, I looked at him, and my eyes got this big, and I got in my purse, and I pulled out my business card that has the badge on it, and I said, I work for the sheriff, and don't you dare give them any money. And then his eyes got this big, and he said, you work for the sheriff? And I said, yes. And he said, this isn't real? And I said, no, it isn't. But I'll tell you how close he came to losing money. He had already downloaded the paperwork to open an account at the UK Bank of London. So these guys are all over the world. They are relentless. They will not give up on you. So I want you to leave here today feeling empowered, like you have a plan. Hang it up, delete it, shred it. Spread the word. We're counting on you, that little ripple effect out in the community, for you to do that, to protect our citizens. And now, I want to make you all honorary members of the Scam Squad. And we have a test. John, we have a test for you.